Alright, so welcome everybody, it's me again. I wanted to talk about my configuration within i3, and I must say I've recently made some changes and I really like the way it looks. It looks like really pretty in my opinion. So first, the main shows the wallpaper here which I have. It's a custom wallpaper I made and I absolutely love it. It's a minimalistic look, it's black, and also hides some imperfections that i3 has with some window glitching and such. It might be because of my graphics drivers, but hey, I'm able to hide the fact and now it works as it should. And it looks pretty cool with this. It looks minimalistic, it doesn't get in the way, and I really like it. Also, when it comes to RAM usage, here I take in it and run htop after startup to check, along with NeoFetch. As you can see, after startup we were consuming around 266 megs of RAM, so it's a almost fully minimized session, but not quite, but hey, it gets the job done. If I were to run htop now, actually, since I'm recording, it takes a little bit more RAM, around 750 megs of it actually. But compared to Windows per se, we're actually eating far less memory, which is actually far more important for me than you might otherwise think. So I want to also explain a bit more about my configuration. So, and this also ties in with my i3 config and how it all looks and functions the way I need to for my workflow. So it's a bit of more of a in-depth look into my configuration. So obviously I run LMDE4. For those who don't know what LMDE4 is, it's Linux Mint Debian edition. So I pretty much took a already pre-configured environment, but I got rid of all the graphical stuff and all the Cinnamon related packages to have a fully minimal installation. So it kind of looked like Debian but in a server environment. So I know I could have just picked Debian, the server environment, and just did that. But this way I already had the graphics drivers for the open source ones at least, and every other package I may have possibly needed, and with that way I have everything that I possibly need. So the only thing I did is I got rid of all the desktop environment stuff and all the other things I do not need, and applied all the other things as I needed to. You might notice I have the Aqua theme set, which may not really look well on this, so we can actually change this. If I run LX Appearance, it's a package you can install and you can pick which one you want. So for example, pink would work perfectly on this, which as you can see with all the color scheme and such, it will actually look pretty on this. I can actually pick not darker pink, sorry about that, where is it? I almost got blind. We go dark pink and it looks pretty good. I'm gonna pick dark pink from now on. More of a dark pink person. So if we run NeoFetch now, you'll notice we are running dark pink, but the icons look a bit weird. Now i3 doesn't have actually any icons, so I don't really care. But let's change it. Let's have a look. So X Appearance, once again, you can go to icon theme, and I'll pick the pink ones, because the pink ones will just look good. It actually does have icons in my file manager, so we can check that out now. So if we go to PCManFM, after this small change, you notice everything is more of a pinkish, which I kind of like, more of a pinkish environment. So after all of that has been changed, you might have noticed I'm running a shell. The shell is pretty much the interpreter of what you have in your terminal, and I'm using Liquidity in my configuration. I fell in love with it. I didn't do any configurations to it. Only thing I did is I installed ZSH, and I did not know this, but Liquidity apparently picks ZSH automatically as its main shell. So the only thing I had to do was just pull my configuration. I can in fact show you this, I think. I think it was ls-a. There is a ZSH or a Z profile thing. I think there's a ZSH history. There's a ZSH RC. That's it. So we're going to vim.zsh RC. I'm going to open it. So this is pretty much the configuration I use in my ZSH, and it works for me. I have all my custom commands and stuff put in. A lot of work has been put into this, trying to make it a bit more interesting. I also fixed some commands to make the downloads work properly. I'm not gonna go into much deep detail about this. I already made a video where I used this exact profile. There were only a few changes that I did to, you know, disable automatic updates, and the colors for my terminal that I use for the prompt, they're actually right here. This thing right here that I'm highlighting right now. This pretty much makes my prompt, which for those who do not know, the prompt is actually this thing right here. This thing. This is how I configure it. I like it this way. It's pretty minimalistic. So that's one thing. The next important thing, obviously, is my configuration file. So what you can do is you can open it up using vim. So you can do vim.config i3 and config. So this is my i3 config file. The reason why I'm using vim is that, you know, I like the standard vim configuration. So my vim RC pretty much is not needed. I would like to put it in, but I don't need it, so I don't use it. Here are like the custom colors which I've set for this. I like these colors, they work for me, and it's like, you know, it's more minimalistic, you know, stupid like things. I may just get rid of the vimrc file from my GitHub page because it's like not needed. There weren't any important changes in it whatsoever. I like using the standard version of Vim. So here are the color sets, which pretty much all of these things right here, they set the color to the gray color that you see all around my environment right now. Next we have these background colors. So this is pretty much so this thing right here is pretty much the background color I use for the bar down there, as you can see. When a background is active, it gives it this pinkish color, which you can see right here. This is the pinkish color it gives it. When a environment is active, it gives it this pinkish color. When it's not active, it gives it that slight reddish color, which is for this inactive part, which is right here. I've also updated the config file to make it work across multiple environments, because some people contacted me through my DMs saying that this config doesn't work, and I realized I had put my username in here, which is a noobish mistake. So instead of my username right here, I put in user, which is a variable inside of Linux, which takes care of pretty much everything in terms of the configuration file and makes it work across multiple systems. These are text colors, so pretty much it's set to white, nothing special. Same for inactive. I don't like switching text colors a lot. It's not necessary. And when it's urgent, it just flashes red, so I know it's urgent. Then we have the border colors. The separator is actually, you can see that thing. You actually cannot see it right now, but if I get rid of my face for a little while, you can see the separator down here. It's a black color and it works like it should in my configuration. So what else is here? I've changed the gap sizes. So instead of using, let me just move this a bit more to the center here, or more upper here. It doesn't matter. So when it comes to the gap sizes, I've decided, hey, let's just make them just a bit smaller. So instead of 5 pixels, and I use 3 pixels. I can still distinguish windows, and it's a bit more closer, giving me a bit more space overall, so that's good. They're like about 4 pixels wider and 4 pixels taller, so it does make a difference on a big monitor like the one I have right now. The volume stuff and such, as of now, I have problems getting that to work. Maybe I'm missing some packages and such. I may just get rid of this, since it doesn't really change anything in how I use my computer. I may have to fix it and like in a future update to this file, but it's something I plan on doing in the future, so I'll fix it when I find time for this. So yeah, let's quit out of here and let's look at some other. That's pretty much the main parts. So I've covered the ZSH shell, the Z shell, I covered the i3 config. So what else is there to talk about? I think, like, since i3 is so basic, I don't think that there's anything else we should talk about. I don't have Range or anything like that installed. I showed you the icon changes and everything, so there's not much else to it. I have a link to my config and to where you can get the wallpaper that I'm using down in the description, and you can pretty much get the exact same configuration I have. I'm really happy with it, how it turned out. It looks pretty cool. In my opinion, it looks pretty neat. It's a minimalistic config, and it like runs really well. The RAM consumption is decent while it's idle with absolutely nothing running. I see around 300 megs of RAM being used, and after startup it's around 350, but I'm planning on figuring out how to compress down the individual pages so that we can make it actually even lower in terms of RAM consumption, therefore optimizing how our system runs. So this video is a really quick talk about how my config works, what I've changed and stuff. In terms of the key bindings, I use the same key bindings as I would normally. For launching applications, I use dmenu, which you can see up top. You know, that's what I used to launch Alex Appearance a few minutes ago. And I'm running a Debian base, and you can pretty much make any distro look like this. All you have to do is just get the right packages installed and you should be good to go. I had to build i3